The Thuringii or Thuringii were a Germanic tribe which appeared late during the Völkerwanderung in the Harz Mountains of central Germania around 280, in a region which still bears their name to this day, Thuringia. They evidently filled a void left when the previous inhabitants, the Alemanni, migrated south to the region named after them, Alemannia. They may have been remnants of the Alemannic Confederation, or simply another lesser tribe. Some have suggested that they were the remnants of the Hermanjuri, that last part of whose name was corrupted and afterwards suffixed with ing, meaning descendantive. Claudius Ptolemy mentions neither tribe in his geography but instead the Turiochima, who may also be connected to later Thuringians. Political history. The Thuringii established an empire in the late 5th century. It reached its territorial peak in the first half of the 6th before it was conquered by the Franks in 531 to 532. Examination of Thuringian grave sites reveal cranial features which suggest the strong presence of Hunnic women or slaves, perhaps indicating that many Thuringians took Hunnic wives or Hunnic slaves following the collapse of the Hunnic Empire. There is also evidence from jewelry found in graves that the Thuringians sought marriages with Ostrogothic and Lombard women. The Lombard king Agilulf was of Thuringian descent. After their conquest, the Thuringii were placed under Frankish duces, but they rebelled and established themselves independently again by the late 7th century under Radulf. Towards the end of this century, parts of Thuringia came under Saxon rule. By the time of Charles Martel and Saint Boniface, they were again subject to the Franks and ruled by Frankish dukes with their seat at Würzburg in the south. Under Martel, the Thuringian duke's authority was extended over a part of Austrasia and the Bavarian plateau. The valleys of the Lahn, Main, and Neckar rivers were included. The Raab formed the southeastern border of Thuringia at the time. The Werra and Fulda valleys were within it also, and it reached as far as the Saxon plain in the north. Its central location in Germania beyond the Rhine was the reason it became the point d'appui of Boniface's mission work. The Thuringii had a separate identity as late as 785 to 786, when one of their leading men, Hardrade, led an abortive insurrection against Charlemagne. The Carolingians codified the Thuringian legal customs as the Lex Thuringorum and continued to exact a tribute of pigs, presumably a Merovingian imposition, from the province. In the 10th century, under the Ottonians, the centre of Thuringian power lay in the northeast, near Erfurt. As late as the end of the 10th century, the porcine tribute was still being accepted by the King of Germany. Ecclesiastic history. The Thuringii had been converted to Christianity in the 5th century, but their exposure to it was limited. Their real Christianization took place, alongside the ecclesiastical organization of their territory, during the early and mid-8th century under Boniface, who felled their sacred oak at Geismar in 724, abolishing the vestiges of their paganism. In the 1020s, Aribo, Archbishop of Mainz, began the minting of money at Erfurt, the oldest market town in Thuringia with a history going back to the Merovingian period. The economy, especially trade, greatly increased after that. Social history. The Thuringian nobility, which had an admixture of Frankish, Thuringian, and Saxon blood, was not as landed as that of Francia. There was also a larger population of free peasant farmers than in Francia, though there was still a large number of serfs. The obligations of serfs there were also generally less oppressive. There were also fewer clergymen before Boniface came. There was a small number of artisans and merchants, mostly trading with the Slavs to the east. The town of Erfurt was the easternmost trading post in Frankish territory at the time. Historiography. The history of the Thuringii is best known from the writings of their conquerors, the Franks. Gregory of Tours, a Gallo-Roman, includes the nearest account in time of the fall of the Thuringian Empire. Widukind of Corvey, writing in 10th century Saxony, inundates his similar account with various legends. The Thuringii make brief appearances in contemporary Italian sources when their activities affect the land south of the Alps. Procopius, a Byzantine author, mentions them and speaks of their fall. The 7th century Origogentis Langobardorum mentions a king of the Thuringii, Fisud, as a contemporary of Thedabatai.